Thinking of getting that special gift, but maybe it's a little too expensive right now? Well, you may want to wait until after the holiday shopping season and then check out Overstock.com. The online retailer buys excess inventory and resells it at, well, what you might expect, a discount. While traditional retailers are blurring the line between stores and online shopping, Overstock trying to keep customers from going to the store by offering the same products cheaper. Let's get an outlook for the online retail sector. Talk about this company's business. Joining us from Salt Lake City, Utah, Patrick Byrne. He's the CEO of Overstock.com. Mr. Byrne, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me, sir.
I know sales are up rather sharply, but in the online world, it's always about ultimately getting that bottom line to turn positive. What can you tell us?
Well, we actually had an operating profit in the third quarter of last year and a GAAP profit in the fourth. We slipped back under in the first few quarters of this year, but I'm very comfortable where we are.
And where is that, where you are?
We're growing very rapidly at nearing break even. And if you know, Amazon lost $3 billion getting where they are. If I can catch Amazon without losing that much money, I'll be a happy man.
Well, I would assume you haven't lost anywhere near $3 billion, but what are your losses to date, do you know?
Oh, I think about 60 million or so. Yeah, we're coming up on, I think by next year we'll be about a tenth the size of Amazon by sometime next year.
In terms of sales?
In terms of sales.
Now,
not a tenth of them in terms of losses.
And again, you said under GAAP, right? Because I don't think they've reported a profit yet if you actually use GAAP.
We had GAAP, net income, GAAP, not pro forma, not Amazon accepted accounting principles, generally accepted accounting principles profit last fourth quarter.
Tell me a bit about the business right now. You know, I would assume you have to develop or have developed a lot of relationships with a lot of people who sell goods or perhaps can't sell quite as many as they had anticipated.
Yes, we deal mostly with manufacturers and with bankruptcies, not many retailers. The technology is such that retailers usually aren't the ones who get stuck with excess inventory anymore. It's farther up the supply chain. So we have a lot of relationships. People call us from all over the world. We just got a bunch of Franck Muller watches yesterday, about $5.5 million of Franck Muller, which is a very, if Rolex is a Lexus, then Franck Muller is a Rolls Royce. So we get these calls from all over the world. We get the inventory, and we're basically an outlet store that's on the internet.
That's a good question then for follow-up, Patrick, which is that there is a perception or a misperception, perhaps, that your business model is contingent on large inventories and a weak economy. And I think that is a misperception, that you actually are going to benefit with an economic rebound as well, correct?
Absolutely. I think that we're beta-friendly. I think in very good times or very weak times, it's good for us. In a mediocre time, people aren't shopping, and there isn't much excess inventory. People are very tight with inventory. But in either a boom or a bust, there's tons of excess inventory.
How do you feel confident when you shell out the cash, for example, for those high-end watches you just talked about, that you can actually sell them?
Well, we were surprised. We did about 18 dot-com bankruptcies. We stepped in and liquidated, and one of them was Miadora, and they had some very high-end. At the time, we were selling $100 gold chains, and we got these Rolexes and Cartier watches and such, and we said, is anyone going to come buy a $10,000 watch from us? Well, we put them up on the site, and they lasted about 3 days. So we have the audience. We have 7 or 8 million people a month visit us, and we've discovered that we can we've moved much more towards the high end in recent 9 months or so, and we have the audience for it.
In terms of customer service, in terms of people that have not visited the site, if you buy something, you don't want it, can you go through the policy in terms of how it works and how the business model works there?
Sure. We try to be ultra consumer friendly. We have 24-hour, 7-day-a-week customer service, live operators, very easy to reach us. 1-800-THE-BIG-O is our telephone number. People can return. People can return anything. I think it's 20 days, a 20-day return policy.
Tell me about recent reports that Tiffany & Company filed a lawsuit against you. Essentially heart-shaped pendants thought to be from Tiffany. Some people had a problem with them. Have you resolved that litigation?
Well, haven't resolved it. I was hoping to see Tiffany on the TV this morning, because we do have a full-time lawyer who just certifies. He's always examining paperwork and capturing the authenticity of the goods. Those goods came out of a factory in Florence, Italy, called La Certosa, which is a manufacturer for Tiffany, is our information. They manufacture for Tiffany. They sold an extra lot out to somebody else who sold them to us. So Tiffany, I think, was a little taken aback to discover that. And they're trying to paint it as an overstock problem. We're trying to say, wait a second, Tiffany, if you've got a manufacturer who's selling your stuff out into the open marketplace, they end up in our hands. I'm sorry that they did. We checked the paperwork and tried to be careful, but maybe that's a Tiffany problem that they got to talk to their manufacturer about instead of suing us.
Mr. Byrne, what's the hottest selling product so far this year?
Well, of course, the PlayStations and Xboxes and things like that. We can sell a couple thousand a day. Something that's gotten very big is apparel. I think what's going on is a confluence of two dynamics. One is women did not catch men in online usage until about 2.5 years ago. And it takes you about 2 years of being online before you get comfortable shopping. What that means is this is the first fall that women, the first holiday season that women are going to be turning to the internet to do the bulk of their holiday shopping. So I really think that the projections you're hearing are low for what this holiday is going to look like online.
And we talked at the beginning of the interview about your hopes in terms of having a good bottom line. Any need for additional capital, or are you comfortable?
Well, comfortable is a big word, but we're not planning on raising capital anytime soon. We think we have this beat, or it's a close call. My goal is to basically break even and catch Amazon in a couple of years, and then have something that can be generating a lot of cash flow.
All right, Mr. Byrne, we wish you all the best this holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on, sir.
Patrick Byrne is the CEO of Overstock.com.